The journey of caring for a loved one who is living with dementia can be quite challenging. The aim of this podcast is to make caregiving less daunting and more fulfilling. On this platform, we share knowledge, understanding, and experiences. We enlighten, give hope, and encourage, and in the process, create positive awareness about different aspects of dementia. Welcome to my podcast, Dementia Caregivers Corner. My name is Juliah. Dementia Care, how deep is your love?
Our guest in today's episode has recently begun his role as a registered nurse in Namibia, Africa. He is also a dementia advocate. His journey into advocacy began when his mother was diagnosed with dementia a few years ago. Now, he dedicates himself to providing awareness, education, and training family members on how to understand and care for their loved ones living with dementia. Welcome into today's episode, none other than Andrias. Andrias, we welcome you to Dementia Caregivers Corner podcast.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yes, you are. Let's just get into it. And just to be a caregiver is something that is very challenging. And to be a dementia caregiver is even more challenging. I remember the last time we were supposed to have our chat, you had to rush back home because mom was not feeling okay. I wanted to find out, how is she doing now? And how are you doing, really?
Yeah, honestly to say, there's not much of a challenge currently now, but she's doing very well, provided that the family members, in terms of my siblings, they are all well aware and they are knowledgeable of a state of health. So which makes it things easier and also makes the environment conducive for her. Myself, I'm well and very relieved knowing very well that she's in a space where she's well understood and she's allowed to still live regardless of her living with dementia.
No, that's good. We are glad when both of you are well. And I want to find out, what type of dementia was mom diagnosed with? And you explain it in more detail so that our listeners can understand.
Okay, thank you. Somewhere in 2018, that's when I met one of the only knowledgeable guy in the field of dementia, especially in Namibia. He also owns a care center where we cares for plus minus 23 clients or people living with dementia. So he has in the field for more than 10 years, I can say, and who is also currently himself living with dementia. And after that, when he met my mom, he tried to ask me questions, and I was telling him the behaviors that were exhibited by my mother all the time, being so, considering her age, you can't say she could, because we know all these type of behavior, they could be either associated with age or perhaps someone that is being bewitched and stuff like that as an African. So we are on that ground. So then he told me that there's something called dementia. So far, I have tried to go through some researches. There's no word in our vernacular or any vernacular language, especially African, within the sub-Saharan Africa, that can say this is what dementia is in our language. Like a direct translation, we don't have it, unless you try to give a description of what you are looking at. So then I said, yeah, those things you're mentioning, those are the similar behaviors that we face with her. And it's really tough because we are not used of this new hair. So it's getting challenging for us. So, however, things started to get better when I started to do research myself, going to the library, try to read more about all these dementia stuff and its associated factors, what are the cause and the underlying conditions, symptoms, what type, how should you be prepared. And I have learned that it's really a challenging thing. And I've realized that this is something that needs patience, something that needs someone to have a great patience to listen and invest their time in whatever that is. So then the most interesting part, I also have learned that their behavior is more, especially the aggression part, it's more like an international language for them to express something that they can't really find in words for you to understand them. So they use aggression. It's like for you to come around whatever that they're trying to direct you to. So it started to become easier during my approach and engagement with it. Then I also went from time to time to Swakop at the center where we have people that are already in different stage of dementia. I have learned and I was challenged. Honestly, my first time was challenging. I remember we have the old auntie that we got from Gina. I think Barry told you about that. So the first, it's a tradition in Africa, practiced by certain cultures. And when you come, the first time you come at a place, you need to be blessed. We call it's a blessing when an elderly try to sprinkle their saliva on your face. So you don't wipe them off, you just leave because it's a blessing. And also to say you are welcome here and you are protected.
Yes.
So she did that at me and I was like, yo, what's going on? And it's been a while since I had that. So then they told me, no, she always do that. And there are people that are also living with this type of very challenging form of dementia, FTD. It's a combination of frontotemporal dementia. So meaning the frontal part and the temporal lobe, there are two lobes that are affected. So which is a large area. Frontal lobe is more of the one that is responsible for emotions, you to control your emotions and stuff like that. And the temporal one is for you to understand communication. And the communication there, you can see already is tempered. So now the symptoms will be worse. They are the most aggressive people in all the dementias. So we had to think one that was always challenging. These people, they become, when someone is having this form of dementia, they are sensitive to smell. Let me say more of sensitive to anything around them. A bad smell, hot weather, cold weather, and noisy, or a certain color that doesn't really reflect well in their, so they start to throw tantrums. So now it's you to understand that you need to get rid of all those associated factors. If it's about being a wet ground, being noisy, try to reduce and limit all these things, then you'll be good with these people. So
Yes.
you can see it's very tough. It's not you just say, ah no, keep quiet, you are making noise. Or no, sit down, stop fighting others. That won't work and it won't go
No.
like that. You need to come in a polite way and you should show that no, you are prepared to understand and reason with them. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. And they
Yes.
are safe. You are not there to harm them. But if you think you can scare them off, you're going to make it worse and it's going to be a living hell for you.
No.
So I learned all this. So coming back home, I also started to go through the community. I raised awareness. And in Africa, dementia itself is not really that common. Even researches, it was not really researched a lot. So, especially in Namibia, now it's here and there. I think I saw only one research that was done by one of the professors at the University, think of Namibia, who researched about challenges that are being faced by family members of those who are taking their relatives that are affected by dementia to a care center. There are challenges.
When you're talking of challenges now, I want to know the challenges that you and your siblings faced with your mom. I want you to talk about the symptoms that she exhibited.
Okay.
Obviously, you were not aware what it was. Like your mom, how did she exhibit such symptoms, and then the challenges that you faced as a family, because you didn't know what dementia was?
Yeah, no, the first thing that we picked up is like my mom is one of the people that I ever known who are so patient and too emotional and very caring and supportive. So throughout our entire life, we lived with her like that. But from the time, slightly and gradually, we have picked up a decline in her patience and a decline in emotional control, and also a decline in activity competency. So she's so hardworking, but you can see some of the things she can't do them like the way she used to, because things were getting tough for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think because she didn't know what was going on with herself also, and we were not in a position to help her also understand what's going on, because herself didn't know what is going on. We didn't know what's going on. So it's just us against her fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when all these symptoms kicked in, there were points where now people started accusing her of being a witch and stuff like that. I remember there was a time she was admitted at the hospital. No, she was taken at church. Then when she was taken at church, because she was exhibiting more of psychotic related symptoms. So normally in churches they will say you are possessed by a demon spirit and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Then that time I think I was doing an English course at the University of Namibia. Then I was told she was a church, and a church, these are places where they also try to restrain you to make sure, when you are in a state, you become so agitated, and it's more of catatonic. So you have more energized, and you can't control the emotions. Even your locomotive, it will be too much. You move up and down, you go to places where, and even break stuffs and things like that. Then they will have to restrain you. So when I had that, I have to travel to the village where she was and to a church where she was.
Mm-hmm.
I collected her, brought her to a nearby hospital.
Yeah.
Then it was a healthcare center, and the nurses there, they were very good. I explained to them, and they said, no, that what is happening here is it's more like psychosis symptoms, but it can be secondary to arrangement that she's taking now, because she has been on this arrangement for a longer period of time. They have started changing this form of arrangement because a lot of people, they are having a challenge with this type of arrangement. They are having more of psychosis effect.
Mm-hmm.
So mind you, anything that alters the alertness or your alertness, it has a negative effect to your brain. So she had more of this over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it became so worse, meaning the only challenge that she had is her brain being altered or affected to such a point that and also she was into so much anxiety, stress, and we lost almost a lot of stuff during the process of witchcraft accusation because of her symptoms. Then it became that you can't communicate to her and explain things because she won't understand you. And you will have a problem. We expect her to stand for us. The only thing she would do is to fight. This is something that is uncommon. We knew of her. And in terms of schools, they will send you, you need to call your parents. She won't really, reason with them. then you keep wondering what's going on. This is not how we knew her, and things started to become tough. And also, when it comes to communicating people, she started to withdraw from all these activities, family meeting, community meetings, anything that a reasonable person can partake in, or a complete health individual's the way of living. She literally turned off from that. Then we started to see all these weaning off from various activities, and her support system, spiritually, physically, started to decline. Her provision of support, and in terms of other family members that relied on her, also declined terribly. So then most of the family members started to turn against her because they felt like she's no longer the same. She's a different person. She's not the person that they knew, which I think maybe could be one of the factors. They said she's a witch or she's possessed and stuff like that. So those were the challenges. So
And they make me a tear because I can picture you with your siblings having no maybe information that time and having had to deal with those kind of symptoms. Tell me, how do you think this affected you as siblings? Do you feel like maybe there were opportunities that you have missed out in life because of your mom's living with dementia? Just as your family, your siblings,
being in Africa or sub-Saharan Africa, specifically Namibia, whereby we see this form of people calling each other witches, being bewitched, being possessed, because we are busy looking for answers that we even not know that they are the correct answers or they are the wrong answers. So I always say this is the science of Africa, trying to explain the unexplainable.
Yeah.
So now, in the process of explaining the unexplainable, we hurt each other, we create poverty, and we start to create mistrust within ourselves, and disconnect a lot of people from normal life, and infringe their rights of being human, and live a life that they're supposed to be, even to enslave them, deprive them of liberty in any form of activity. Because if you have this type of symptoms, like, you can't even be able to contribute amicably in anything that pertains the community welfare or family member, because you say, you are psycho, go away. You will be disregarded, that you are no longer valid to contribute to anything. You just have to live your life as a mad person and in your own cycle as alone, without interfering with what other people are engaging into. So that's why from the time I've learned that, it became so tough. I have to decide whether to fall down or use the negative energy to turn it into a positive energy to change the whole situation around. So, because my mom became so challenged, us as a family who depended on her, she was the only source of any form of interaction with other people, either in terms of food support or any other form of support that we could need in a society. So it was a cut off. So now I personally have to look after myself. I remember my family have to relocate. So one day I knocked off from school, and I came home. There was no one. They were all gone. So my family, like my siblings' educational pattern, were altered negatively to such a direction that when they moved, there's a system where before moving from one school to another, you need to have a transfer, you need to apply. There's also a specific time when you need to go to another school when you need to transfer, at least end of the year, you transfer, then the beginning of the following year, then you move in the other school. From my siblings, there's another one, the one who's after me, couldn't really continue well with school because of that. She dropped out. And also my elder brother, he dropped out because of that. And we have only the younger ones that are going to school now. Plus myself was too persistent because I believed only maybe through education is the only way I can liberate my family again. So yeah, for me, I can say if it wasn't for such situations, maybe I could not have be where I am. And also, I can say the situation pushed me to say I need to man up. I need to mature as soon as possible because for the longer I wait 10:30 to call myself, now I'm old, I can take up responsibility. It's more of suicide. So, so the situation, honestly, it created me, it shaped me into something that, and it also maybe helped me get exposed so soon to various people, very, very strong people in life, the likes of Barry. Also, then, yeah, they have gone through hardship and they know what life is like, and they try to bring you in their space of endurance and be one of those people who can be able to endure else and also be able to face your problem the way they are without running away from them, and make sure that it's either the problem decides to give up and work with me or it has to disappear. So it helped me to become one of those type of people who doesn't run from challenges, who doesn't run from problems. There is that to say we are going straight on because we know at the end of the day we have learned what these type of challenges has brought to us, and in the next phase of life, when similar problem comes, we can be able to say, we learned A, B, C, D. So anything about you, then we're gonna prevail no matter how challenged they are, and also to accept that this is it's a way of life. It's a way of life. So it's more of that. For me, I see it as an opportunity, and with some grievances that affected my siblings, because I also learned that situations, they are there in life, but they are more of what you make them of. They give you emotions, and these emotions, it's up to you on what you want to use those emotions for. It's either you react negatively to those emotions, or you're gonna have to sit and relax and analyze yourself and say, okay, I understand, but I shouldn't go that way. I should go this way. So that's one thing I've learned.
Okay, tell me now, Andrias, let's say you meet with a family similar to your family with a parent living with dementia. What can you say to them? What is the importance of unity among family members when they are caring for someone living with dementia?
Yeah, my only advice or my approach that I normally used to go around about when I'm encountering someone or a family member that are going through these type of situations are always, like, in our society in Namibia, it's only, I can say, the allies that are exposed to this form of problems that have the knowledge. And even despite having the knowledge, this is the truth, bitter truth that I have learned. We wait until we are victimized. That's when we react as that, oh no. If you are not victimized, we can just say, no, dementia is something that we really need to pay attention to right now. Because the more we neglect it, the more things are going to be terrible. Because then the environment, the society that we live in, it's not friendly for people living with dementia. It's time that we speak, create a space where these people can still be seen as human, a human being that is living similarly to the way they have lived in the past. But because of what they are going through now, it shouldn't be a definition. It shouldn't be something that we can say to categorize them and try to create an apartheid between who we are and what they are. So it's more of they are still them, but they need our help more than they were. It's like someone turning back to childhood, being a baby. That's where the society need to come in, because when you have a child, we are in a society. You are my neighbor. I live next door. So you have a little child, a very naughty child. I know that Julia's baby is too naughty. So maybe I'm outside, then you are inside busy, and I see the child. Then I said, this girl is very, very naughty. I shouldn't allow her even to come close to the gate, because the next thing I'm thinking she would do is to go outside that gate and into the street. Cars and maybe other people might have harmed her or hurt her. So I have to do anything that I need to do to prevent any negative cause on her. So basically, it's not just you only as a mother, but me also as a member of the community, member of the society, looking after this one person, because the person is just a child and the person still needs support. But for instance, you yourself, I don't need to stress when I see you walking, going, approaching the gate. I know like this is going somewhere. So I can even go back inside without looking back. But if I see a little one, so that's the type of society we want for people living with dementia, to look after them in that way, as if we are looking after a baby, that we know that anything can happen out there because of what they are going through.
Yes, and they can only do that if they know what is happening.
Yeah.
For example, if now my loved one is living with dementia and my neighbors do not know, how do I expect them to assist me? Because if I now go to my neighbor and say, oh, this is what we're going through. My mom or my dad is living with dementia, and these are the terms that he might behave this way. So they would know when they see this person maybe just walking about, not knowing where they are. They can now go to that person and bring them back home, because mostly they get lost. And I've realized that when they get lost, that's when the people will just come and say, this is a witch. They wanted to come and bewitch us because they got lost and gotten into somebody else's yard,
Mm-hmm.
So I think the example that you just gave of a child being looked after by the community, we really need to engage our neighbors. It has to start with them. Because now, if I'm going to step somewhere very far where my loved one is not, then no one would know. So the importance of awareness, starting from home, from your siblings, to your neighbors on your left, your neighbors on your right, and then the whole small community gets to understand. That's what I'm getting from what you've just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and so my advice is always because as here we have a tendency of trying to find answers, because if I could have dementia now and going to a clinic with the symptoms, the only diagnosis that they will say maybe perhaps having psychosis type of thing. So if I'll be taken to church, they will say being possessed without being taken elsewhere, but just in the community. I am either a witch or I'm being bewitched. Now, my family member, I have to fight against someone that they suspect of being a witch, or the community have to fight against me because they believe I'm a witch based on the symptoms that I'm exhibiting.
Yes.
So now, this is where the quite challenge is. I always approach people like this. This woman or this old man is your mother, is your grandmother, and he still is, or she still is. So nothing that has changed. She took care of you during your vulnerable times. Now is in her vulnerable times. Is your turn. You want to tell me that she was stupid or he was stupid during that time, and you are matured, you could see things better than she could have. And if this person is real what you think they are, then because what we believe of witches, say no, they do kill people, then why could she keep you until at this point, supported you, wasted resources on you, protecting you, and at the end of the day, you say she's the cause of the problems that you are facing in your life? Yeah, the challenge, people that even contributed more in our society, now they turn out to be people that are against, who want us ill. So it's not understandable and it doesn't make sense. And you know, I always feel like you putting so much effort into something or into helping someone, but you will never even be acknowledged for the hard work that you have done, not even to be recognized or noticed that no, this person is really trying, or the person really tried. So the only thing that we can do is commemorate and support maybe this person in the time of need, not us creating another definition because the person is no more the same. Instead of asking question, why is the person no more the same, we want to look for answers where we are not asking questions, because we want to answer what the person, what we are seeing without asking questions. Why is the person behaving like this? No, but we want to look for answers for the behavior that we are seeing without looking for questions
I like
in
that.
whatever we are seeing. So it creates a terrible world. So I always tell them, this person is your mother, has been your mother, has been your grandmother, and still will be. They loved you and still love you. They protected you when you were vulnerable. They went extra miles. They gave you food that they were supposed to eat, but they fed you with that little food for you to grow. They knew them. They are now at the stage where they have grown. You know what a mother or a grandmother does? They believe that if there's anyone to die between a grandson or in a grandmother,
Yeah.
or a granddaughter and a grandmother, the person that's supposed to die is them, because them at least they say, ah, I have seen at least the world. I lived my time. At
Yes.
least you eat so you grow. Me, I can die. It's fine. That is same applies to the mothers, but we don't see all this effort. We don't even acknowledge all this, but rather we call them names,
Yes.
even in their times of need, where
Yeah.
they need us most. We
Yes.
start to disengage them from social life, from all the things that they love doing, because of what they say, we think, what we perceive they are.
Yeah. And we are embarrassed by them, and or maybe
Yeah,
their behavior. You
yeah,
know, you got me thinking that when you just gave that example of looking after your parents because they've looked after you. You know, I always say when your loved one is asking you, I mean, there are these dementias that make your loved one to ask you the same thing again and then again and again.
yeah, yeah,
And as a family caregiver, you sometimes you get tired. It's
yeah,
human,
yeah,
you get
yeah,
tired. I always say when I'm talking to caregivers, I'll be like, remember that day when you were still young and you just sang that parent, your mom, the same song again and
yeah,
again. And your mom didn't say, I'm tired of listening to the same
yeah,
song.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
something
yeah,
similar. They
yeah,
will ask you the same question again and again. Just flip that thing in, and say
yeah,
exactly what you just said.
exactly. So it's more of us failing them when it's our turn to do what they
Why?
done.
And why? I'm sad.
Yeah, it's the way life we want it to be, because we don't want to look within, we want to look outside, and we want to, I don't know how I can really put this, but we have a tendency of trying to be better than them in such a way that now you want to think that they are against of you being the better than them. So that's why you think they can do anything possible to not allow you prevail in life or whatever that you want to achieve in life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's how I always address.
Yes.
family members, and it's also to remind them, because people need to be reminded. You need to make references to say, because there's no way you tell me 25 years back you were a baby who's asking, Mama, is this mine? Yes, it's yours. Is it mine? It is yours. Can I eat? Yes, eat. Can I finish? Yes, just finish. It's yours. And you know me, I'm fine. You know how irritated that can be.
I know, right?
But they were always mad and say, yeah, it's yours, 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 yours. No, not like that. You don't want to eat. They chase you around. So it's a sport. Before you eat, you need to run. So you get caught and you sit down. One spoon, you stand up, you run, then you have to be chased again until they catch you. All this struggle, you can't do that. Imagine. It's like you go and take money from someone, money that they rely their life on. They offer you because you are in need. Now, when they are in need, they say, I need my money back. So what? You want to kill me? You won't get this. So it is so painful knowing very well that you owe it to this person. We owe it to our elderly. It doesn't necessarily, it's the person within your family member, but any person who's older, they deserve to be looked after. It doesn't
Yes.
matter where they are
And that's
or
our
who they are.
culture.
Yeah, that's where in Africa Ubuntu comes from. That's where it needs to come in. But now Ubuntu is just a philosophy which has been there, which is not really being practiced. If it's being practiced, maybe in minority, not majority.
Yes, or deep villages.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. Let's continue. So now you are a registered nurse, and what's your intention of assisting your colleagues in terms of dementia awareness and how they should? I know you talked about resources not available in our hospitals, but what's your intention of assisting them to be able to be aware that they may be assisting people living with dementia?
Yeah, currently now, I have been working with ADN, Alzheimer's Dementia Namibia, within the rural Kavango, and I am still. But this time I'm working voluntarily, and this is from time to time because I'm now working for the government, and you can't leave your duty station and run like I used to run in the communities.
Yeah.
So, but I'll still make sure that every little time that I get, I'll dedicate it to that, because we have a place now called Mayo. We want to turn this village into a dementia-friendly free society
Yes.
or free community. And this is also something that we want people to look to. So we want to have a specified or a fixed place where we can say, if you want to know more or learn more, this is the place where you need to head to. So that's why now I thought in a long run, alongside Barry, that we need to have this place. If we encounter a family member or individual that is living with dementia, but it's not being accepted in the community, and we see that their life is in danger, we need to take this person from danger just for prevention purposes, so that they shouldn't be harmed. And people are being hacked, being burnt alive, being beaten, assaulted terribly, ostracized. So we bring them in a place where we can remind them that there are people out here who still understand you, who understand you, and who can hear your language, and who can hear your grievances, and who see you for who you are.
Yeah.
So in that process, while we keep this person in this space, to create a conducive environment for the person, because dementia is a progressive, and dementia normally, some studies have said no one cannot live with dementia for many years. Maybe you can go maximum 10 or so, but people have lived their life for a longer time with dementia.
Yes.
The only thing that matters here is how you are being treated. anything that makes you vulnerable helps your dementia to progress fast. Someone who's active, living a normal life, doesn't even, he can't even, for a day, maybe remember twice that I'm living with dementia. These people, they live long, you know. It's like you being on ART. The more you take your medication and you adhere to it, not just you taking medication, but you should also be psychological well and being accepted, feel loved, you are getting adequate feed, you are living a normal life, not being isolated
Yes.
from the rest, being allowed to interact with other people like you always been. You totally forget that you are on ART or living with this disease, so you will live long. But if you have the ART but you don't have the food and you are stressed, yeah, then
I know.
you will be opportunized. There's
Yes.
a lot of opportunistic diseases that will come in, not necessarily that because you're not taking medication, because you are compromising your own immunity.
Immune system.
Your
Yeah.
system is going to be
Yes.
compromised.
Yes.
So this is the whole thing. So we always go. So when we have a thing like this, situation like this, then we need to take the person off the community. Then we go first, start with the family members. We give them what dementia is. We explain to them what this person is going through.
Mhm.
We then always make references. I myself, I underwent all this experience. I always be very transparent and I tell them what my life is like,
Yeah.
what situation my mom was
Yes.
in.
Yes.
So because I want them to feel like they are not the first people to go
Mhm.
that, and it's not just them alone. There's me, and there are also many other people out there, and the more we can be 2, 3, 4, 5, the number continues to grow because we are motivating and influencing the other people. So the more people get the answer, the better things can be. So it's not necessarily that thinking outside the box. I don't like the term think outside the box. This is maybe something that applies in some other field. I want you to think within the box, because the more you go outside the box is when you collect nonsense inside. So let's start thinking within the box. So we start to scrutinize, ask questions with what is in the box. You
Mhm.
can't leave what is in the box and you want to work outside the box.
Mhm.
First, let's finish with what is in the box. And we scrutinize it and decide to say, is this really it or not it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then if you can't do this, you want to go out there and start scrutinizing things. This is when now you bring irrelevant things within, which is not supposed to be there in the first place.
Mhm.
So I always I like people to approach, like, instead of you going out there,
Mm.
sit within yourself, ask within yourself, scrutinize your thoughts, scrutinize what people are talking out there within yourself. Because if you want to be adequate in knowledge within yourself and adequate confidence and trust within, then outside you're gonna be astray completely. So this is how I normally like people to approach life when it comes to situations of dementia. Let's work within. It's fine. People can talk what they want to talk out there.
Mm.
But is this how you know this person? Because you know the person better. Is this how you know the person? Do you think they are correct? You know the person better. What do you say? You yourself excluding what they think this person is. You, okay, what do you know about the person?
Yes.
Yeah,
Love that.
that's more of it.
Yes. I love that. Oh, okay. Before we finish, you had your research done on the undergraduate students, I think, at your university.
Yeah.
What was the outcome of that research? You wanted to find out how much they know about dementia.
Yeah, no, I did undertook a research study that
Mhm.
still struggling to publish it. We hope as soon as it's published, I'll share it with you.
Good.
With the title Undergraduate Nursing Students' Perception Regarding Dementia Care or People Living with Dementia. So I wanted to understand their perceptions regarding people living with dementia because we have different perceptions. Other people see them as no, they are this person is still my family member, this person is still my mother, but other people see no, this is the enemy of progress. This is someone who's against my life and stuff like that. No, this is just a mad person and stuff like that. So that was my hypothesis, is because based on the ground, I am from the community.
Yes.
I have seen but at least I've seen it in people that with limited knowledge in terms of education.
Yeah.
So them being nursing students, at least they are in a medical profession where they understand, and hoping that in the future we are the people that I wanted to understand the society or the type of professionals that our dementia care clients are going to be exposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm running out of time here. Your last words, or maybe you can address something that you think will benefit our listeners more that I did not touch on as you summarize.
Yeah, okay. Maybe my summary would be the outcome of my study. So basically, the outcome is that there's the perception is really negative, and it's poor, and the attitudes were also poor. But in few people, they were real positive attitudes and perception. This is because the negative perceptions were influenced by especially people that grew up without them living with elderly peoples, and people that are really having less patience at heart to interact with people for a longer duration, especially the challenge that comes with someone living with dementia. Yeah, and the positive outcome, it's more of because, we are Africans, and the way we live, it's governed by the cultures and the religions. And also, plus now there are student nurses or healthcare providers, more of ethics. So you need to think twice around all this. So you need to make sure that the things that you are doing, is it right or wrong? The things that you are doing, the way you are treating these elderly individual according to our culture, you need to respect elders and treat them with care. So is it how you are supposed to treat an elder in our culture and in a religion? Are you honoring that? And also, is really what you are doing accepted in the society, or it's not accepted? So at the end of the day, our guilty conscience is being triggered by this form of ideologies, where we can say, according to our religion, I'm not supposed to do this, but I did this. According to our culture, I'm supposed to do this, but I didn't do this. According to the nothing ethics, this is how things are supposed to, but I didn't. So we are whacked. But generally, there's poor knowledge in caring regarding dementia. That's why more researches need to be done in this area, and also the specialized or individualized organizations that are well equipped with this knowledge maybe should continue promoting dementia awareness in all our health sectors, communities, at all levels. Yeah, but so far it's real negative.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Thank you again for for this chat. It is one of those chats that makes me emotional, because I am from Botswana. Botswana and Namibia is just the same.
Yes,
And
most even, yeah.
yes, whatever challenges that you described, I could picture them happening back home in Botswana. So it's just an emotional chat for me. But no, really, thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time to come and chat with me, so that we continue with this awareness for especially our African people, sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you very much, Andrias.
Thank you very much. All pleasure is mine.
Dementia care. How deep is your love?